One of the most common issues that drummers have when trying to practice is the amount of noise that they're making. So what you find a lot of the time is that drummers that live in small houses or apartments or in the middle of the city like I do, they occasionally have electronic setups or in some cases no setup at all, so they can't practice, which is a huge drawback to the instrument because it means, you know, what's the point in playing if you can't play? So in this video I wanted to talk through some things you can do to help you maximize your practice time by simply keeping your neighbours happy. So first of all, one of the biggest issues that I'm aware of when practicing electronic drums is the bass drum. So essentially, because the bass drum is the biggest item and because you've got the kick pedal that's attached to it, depending on what kick drum you have on your electronic kit, that can actually send vibrations through the floorboards, whether that's down below or to the rooms either side of you. So what you need to do essentially is create an air gap between your floorboards and the bass drum itself. And the most common way to do that is by building a DIY drum riser. Now there's so many different ways you can do it. I've seen so many methods out there, and Roland now have the NE1 and the NE10, which are the noise eaters. They're really, really good, but they're quite expensive. So what a lot of people normally do is they normally tend to go down the tennis ball route because it's cheap, it's quite easy to do, and it doesn't take too long to do either. So what is the tennis ball method, I hear you cry? I'm pretty sure you've seen it before. So many people do it. There's a lot of channels that have actually featured the whole tennis ball build thing, you know, way before I have. But I just wanted to talk through the way that I did it. So I got 3 pieces of MDF board, which are 18mm thick, and I cut it down to the size that I wanted it, which fitted my electronic drums as best as possible without being too big and too expensive that I'd have to buy even more sheets than I needed to. Just a quick heads up, I didn't build it so that my stool would be on it. I built it so that I would be sitting literally like just next to the riser, if you like, because my added body weight, even though I'm not that heavy, would have compressed the tennis balls even more and therefore reduced the effectiveness of it. So I didn't do that. Anyway, so I got the 3 pieces of MDF. They were cut down to size, like I said, and then I marked out, well, I didn't mark out, my stepdad marked it out. I just stood there and watched. My stepdad marked out where the tennis balls were going to go, as you can see in the photos here, and then he routed out the holes where the tennis balls would sit. We didn't actually cut the tennis balls in half like quite a lot of people do. We just kept them as full tennis balls and then like made little sockets for them to go in, sort of thing. So yeah, that was done. The lines were drawn and then the holes were routed, which took absolutely ages, but I was really happy with the results. Here's a quick time lapse of me doing that. There's you know, me putting the tennis balls in the slots. That's all I can manage. My stepdad did the rest. And then yeah, so that was how we built the first, I guess, 3 layers. So bottom was MDF, and then there was tennis balls, and then there was second layer of MDF, and then those 2 top layers of MDF, because there was 3 boards. They had a layer of green glue in between them. Now, if you've not heard of green glue, it's essentially this noise-proofing compound which is meant to reduce the amount of vibrations that are travelled between two materials. So in this case, the 2 materials being 2 bits of MDF. I saw so many videos online and like so many articles about it, and it said it was pretty good. So I tried it out. I mean, it's quite expensive. But because I'm quite pedantic and I really wanted to make sure that I did this build properly, I got 2 tubes of that, and then I did exactly as I said before, so I put it between the 2 top layers. Not that that helped anyway, because my neighbour's an absolute. So the entire build took around about 2.5 hours, I believe, or maybe a little bit longer, but the only reason why it would have taken longer than that was because my stepdad's drill kept running out of battery and all the batteries were dying. We couldn't charge them quick enough to support the amount of holes we had to drill. I mean, there was a lot of holes. So yeah, that was the only reason why it took a little bit longer. Another thing you can look into getting if you're really, really concerned about making noise and, you know, not upsetting your neighbours, is different sorts of beaters. So your regular beater, I don't know how well it's going to focus, but your regular beater with both the felt side and the plastic side, it can cause a lot of sound even on a mesh head or a rubber head or whatever you're using on your kick drum. So DrumTec make a sound absorbing beater, which is this one. So it's got a plastic side and it's also got a sponge side, as you can see. And they retail for around £20, and they're really, really effective at helping to minimise the noise that's being made by your kick drum. Another thing you can get from DrumTec is they also make a sound absorbing mat, which is quite spongy to touch. That also really helps. So if you put your drums on that, I think the big one, which is the one I've got, retails for around £90. And again, that's another good thing you can get. I mean, I've got all three. I've got the beater, I've got the mat, and I've also got the drum riser, plus obviously all mesh heads and Roland cymbals and an electronic drum kit, because I'm really trying to, you know, not make as much noise as possible, since I do like to practice a lot and I do like to film videos, as you guys know. So that's all I wanted to say today. Thank you for watching. I know it was a really short video, but you know, those are just some of the things that I know you can do to help minimize the amount of noise you make, and so practice even more. I'll leave the links to the products that I talked about, so the sound absorbing beater, the sound absorbing mat, and obviously you can go to other people's channels. I'll leave some links to some really helpful videos in how to build a DIY drum riser. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be making one of those videos because I believe that other people have already done it really well, so there's no point in me oversaturating that market, so to speak, and when you can just go watch theirs and give those channels some love and support. So yeah, anyway, that's it from me. Cheers. I hope you take something from this. If you don't, I'm sorry. But yeah, cool. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.